It's no surprise that the year 2022 was a year of conspiracy, where the idea of conspiracy theorists changed from, oh, you're living in your parents' basement, to become as pop culture as it gets. From the conservatorship to the wedding, to Kanye West, Alex Jones being ordered to pay over $1 billion, to the Balenciaga scandal, just a couple days ago with Jeffree Star saying that he escaped the Illuminati. Now, understandably, the public is a bit suspicious after the last couple years. And it didn't really help that during the pandemic, there was a show about conspiracy theorists who believed that a fictional work of art was actually leading them to expose a global conspiracy to create a fake virus, a virus created by Dwight from The Office, so that a big pharma billionaire played by John Cusack could convince the entire world to take a shot that would eventually lead to the depopulation of the planet. Now, it didn't help that this series premiered in 2020, and it didn't help that they canceled it after one season. Somebody doesn't want us to know the end of the story. But even with its growing popularity, there's still a lot of misinformation around the word conspiracy. So I get this comment all the time. Don't call it a conspiracy, it's true. So let's go over this once and for all. What does a conspiracy mean? People who are conspiring together, an agreement to conspire, a group of conspirators. Nothing here says anything about it being false. About a conspiracy theory, a theory that explains the event of circumstances as the result of a secret plot by powerful conspirators, or a theory asserting that a secret of great importance is being kept from the public. Now, there is a lot of conspiracy theories around the history of the word conspiracy theory, go figure. A lot of people say that the CIA invented this word after the JFK assassination to discredit anyone that questioned the assassination. And although it grew in popularity after the assassination of JFK, this website here, Hapgood, was actually able to pull up a New York Times article from during the Civil War, where this person was implying that the way that Britain was handling the Civil War in the US potentially show some ulterior motives. A week later, there was a response saying that these were all just conspiracy theories. But now I want to show you the goods. This is the first edition of None Dare Call It Conspiracy. This book lasted over 40 years before it came into my possession. In the 7 or 8 years I've had it, it has aged 1,000 years. So I apologize for the condition of this book. So let's go over a little OG conspiracy highlights. The book starts off with an introduction written by a congressman, and it starts off strong. The story you are about to read is true. The names have not been changed to protect the guilty. This book may have the effect of changing your life. After reading this book, you will never look at national or world events the same way again. That being a senator and congressman, his experience says that what is in this book is accurate and that they might try to discredit the author, but that doesn't make what's in this book false. Now, the author starts off by talking about the hidden picture game. For example, find the hidden dancer in this image. Right there. Now, when you go back and look at the picture, the only thing you can see is that dancer. And after you become aware of that hidden image, you realize that the entire painting was only created to conceal the hidden image. He goes on to say that millions of Americans are concerned and frustrated with what's happening in the country. But because of the picture painters, they can't figure out exactly what the root of the problem is. Yet every election, high hopes and glittering campaign promises, but the problems continue to worsen. No matter who's in office, a Democrat, a Republican, they continue the same basic policies of the previous administration, which they themselves so thoroughly denounced during their own campaigns. He shares the famous FDR quote, "In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way." And he was certainly in a good position to know. Now, it's not crazy to think that things are planned. If we were merely dealing with the law of averages, then half of the events that are affecting Americans would benefit them. If we were dealing with mere incompetence, then our leaders should occasionally make mistakes that help the American people. And he goes on to say that the purpose of this book is an attempt to prove that we are not dealing with coincidence and stupidity, but actually planning and brilliance. Those who believe that the major world events are planned are laughed at for believing in the conspiracy theory of history. But when you think about it, there are only two theories of history. Either things happened by accident or they were planned. And if you're the one that believes in the 30,000 consecutive coincidences that has happened in the past 40 years, then you might be the crazy one. He says that many of these people who believe in this accidental theory of history believed that they were taught objective facts about history. But in reality, nothing can be written objectively, because we all know it's the people who won those battles that wrote the history books.
This will get your conspiracy juices flowing.
Okay, so this chart right here is depicting the false left-right political system that we live in. And look at the words that we still use. If you go too far to the right, it's fascism. If you go too far to the left, it's communism, socialism. And we're made to believe that some little sweet spot in the middle is what we call democracy. But in reality, communism, fascism, socialism, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is on one side of the political spectrum of total government. The other side is anarchy. Like, do you realize that they've convinced people that no matter which way you lean leads to dictatorship? Okay, so just let me give you a quick little example of why this whole false left-right political system isn't serving you or your rights. So 2 years ago, the left was really pushing for everyone to get a shot. Many people believed that that was imposing on their bodily rights as a person, and that it's not the government's place to decide that. But under the left, the idea of communism, of community, it's for the greater good, people's bodily rights were imposed on. And now let's go to last year. The far right continued the attack on bodily rights in the reversal of Roe versus Wade. Now, although these are both total forms of government, this side is under the guise of the good of all, and fascism is more towards the leader knows best. So the ideals of the leaders become the rules and the laws of many. So then here we go. We had another bodily right imposed upon. Now, it doesn't matter if you agree with the shots or you agree with abortion or not. At the end of the day, the pendulum is swinging closer and closer to total government. So while we fight about our moral issues of what we think is right or wrong for each person and their body and what this person should do or is what I should do, because in a constitutional republic, you're allowed to decide for yourself what's right for you. And in the words of Colin Quinn, democracy is the greatest form of government because we have two choices. That's one more choice than fascism. So let's rewind a second, because I hear people throwing around the word democracy all the time. This is a democracy. Who told you that? It definitely wasn't those objective history books. Because in a democracy, the people have the highest deciding power. What we live in is a constitutional republic where the Constitution has the highest power, not the people. So no wonder it's so easy to convince people that democracy is somewhere in between communism and fascism. We don't even know what the fuck a democracy actually is. Now, a constitutional republic was created by the founding fathers to splinter the powers, because freedom is when the government is divided into small fragments. We've been convinced that democracy, our freedom, our right to choose, is somewhere in between communism and fascism, where we have a left-right political structure. That very closely mirrors this, and then we end up with something like this. Oh God, or this. And anytime someone suggests a political structure that's a little bit more advanced than this, such as independent parties, they're immediately ostracized. What do you expect when people are repeating talking points from these archetypes? So remember the chart, left wing, right wing, it's the same bird. And the flight path is not going to change by upholding this. I guess I should probably address this too, because you know the haters will. It's literally conspiracy 101 to not trust the government. It would make sense that conspiracies would get hijacked and get sucked right on back to the left-right structure. That was a power move. And turning those people who believe in the conspiracy theory of history back into the left-right structure gives us this. Bitch, to the patriot side of the conspiracy stuff. Like, guys, if you love this country, you fight for it by letting everyone have the freedom to choose what they want to believe in. Freedom looks different to everybody. I mean, protecting yourself means something different to everyone. To some people, that means condoms. To some people, that means a pharmaceutical shot. To some people, that means weapons. Stop getting sucked into the ideals of a dualistic structure, because the more you engage in this left-right, the closer the pendulum swings to total government. It doesn't matter if you're going to travel on the left wing or the right wing. The bird's going to land if you don't look at what's going on. So when we have things like the World Economic Forum talking about the Great Reset.
Now's a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there.
Not only fight for Ukraine, we fight for this new world order.
No, you're right. I'm sure it is just one big old coincidence.